Greetings to you and welcome a lot to this first class we have for today. I'm very happy that learning has been going on very smoothly between myself and you. And I want to congratulate you for your dedicated time that you keep making. I take note of your daily efforts. I know it is never easy sometimes. You really need to balance your work at home. There's a lot of household chores that you need to undertake on a daily routine. You're also trying to balance between reading and helping your parents at home. You have a myriad of activities, so to speak. But even with all that busy schedule, you've always found time for learning. And indeed, you deserve a pat on your back. I would like to assure you that the dedication you're making today towards learning is not going to be fruitless. You may never know the rewards right now. It could be early for you to realize, but the fact is that the rewards and the fruits will soon be coming, especially when you graduate and have a clean score that will land you soon into the job market. And at that point, you'll be able to tell that indeed what you did at work, at school, was never for the sake of it. I am aware that this lesson takes place at 8, and that could be early for most of you. You remember being at home, you are likely to be faced with the temptation of waking up at 10, to serve yourself some tea, have a snack thereafter, watch your favorite television program, or even browse over the internet or meet friends via chat walls, WhatsApp, FB, Twitter, Instagram, and all that. So making a decision to get on to learning could prove very hard, especially if dedication is lacking. But you've surpassed all that, and you've always made it a priority, because for you to make it for the 8 o'clock class, I'm sure that your preparations for it begin way before that, and you deserve to be congratulated. It makes a lot of sense for you to do that. And as I've said, rest assured that if you sow maize, you will reap maize. If you sow beans, you will reap beans. Nobody ever sows maize and reaps beans. Neither can you sow beans and reap maize. So the point I'm trying to make here is that if you put hard work and much efforts and concern into learning, the rewards will come in equal measure, as opposed to if you plant laziness and lack of concern with the very minimal hard work, then you could be getting referrals and very weak grades. And since the job market today does not take lightly failures in examination, it is upon you now to select the best option, which, just as I've said, will always land you into proper positions. Now, with all that introduction that I've made, because we are still in the process of getting to know each other, we've not met before perhaps, and we are just meeting here for the online classes. We will meet, but the presentation I'm making is just as essential as meeting physically, because there's nothing untouched. The learning has been organized in such a way that it will be like a physical interaction. So let nobody cheat you that this is half a class. It's a full class with very proper management, with presentations And there's room for asking questions, just like on a physical platform. You are very much welcome to ask questions that you have, and I'll feel privileged to answer them at an opportune time. The unit we are handling is called performance management. As you know, this is not the first unit that we are having together, and it's not the first lesson we have been having. We've interacted before, I'm sure, and you are not a stranger when it comes to this unit. You so far know much about it. I'd given you the course outline and the unit outline at the very first lesson. And at that point, I encouraged you to even go on with your own revisions and research, because the main idea here is to get knowledge and prosper in terms of that knowledge and skills that will enable you to fit very well in the natural setting, in the natural environment. So my name is Jared Ochieng. I'm a lecturer at ICS College, and you are all students of ICS College. We may have met physically along the corridors, and I'm glad to have met you, because it's quite an honor to meet people like you who are eager to learn, who are very thirsty for knowledge. Well, let me give you a brief history of my own self in connection to what we are just about to learn today. Now, the fact is that I went to school just like you, only that the difference is that I perhaps went earlier than you. I landed at Mount Kenya University, where I graduated with a bachelor's degree and in education, after which I started to pursue my career. Well, I decided to give you that brief history about myself, especially with regards to my education background, so that you get to know that people start from somewhere. People start from somewhere. You cannot become a lecturer by waking up in the morning and finding yourself in a classroom. Coming to class for a lecture is almost equivalent to preparing for a journey. You must know where you want to go to, what you need, and all that. So when we meet here for this sake, we have prepared ourselves. We've landed into classrooms, myself personally, and got equipped with skills that are very necessary for you. And these skills are going to sharpen you, so that the main thing that we did in the past is the same thing that we'd like to encourage you to do. Because we know the paths that are right for you, what that you follow will make you prosper, and the dangers in life as well. So as much as we'll be interacting in this unit, it is not about discussing notes and adding wealth of knowledge each and every day. But a lecturer also plays another very vital position, that of advising. Well, age-wise, I'm barely 30. I'm not even 30 anyway. And don't get tempted to believe that advice and guidelines should always come from the old. We could be ranging in the same age bracket, or I could be slightly above yours, but be sure that advice is all around. I can advise you, and on the same breath, you can advise me. But of interest is advice on the path that you need to follow for you to lead the right path and find yourself successful. When you talk of this unit, for example, performance management, It's a unit that is made up of only two words. There is that word performance, and there is that word management. So talking about performance management, we are talking about the skills and mechanisms that you will need as a person to manage your human resource. Because the course you're taking is human resource management. And when you're dealing with people, you are going to be measuring performance. You need to give people tasks, after which you gauge how successful were the tasks, how well were the tasks performed. And even before I let you know of what we have in store for you today, that is what I need to teach you today, I would like to let you know that this unit is a very simple one. Why? Because we are dealing with what we know already. Who does not know performance? Who does not know management? These are very familiar terms that we have interacted with before, and we will continue interacting with even in future. Other than for the sake of passing examinations, the unit will help you have skills that are necessary in life, so that when one confronts you with a question, maybe you're a junior student, somebody who is behind you, you'll be able to play the role of an advisor and shed light on whatever the questions they'll have for you. So you'll be sure that through this, you'll get a lot of knowledge. For the class today, we are going to talk about the topic called models for measuring performance. And this is our lesson 11, models for measuring performance. So when the human resource is at task, they have been given some work to do, and you are interested in finding out what much have they done, then you need something called a model in order to measure how best the tasks have been performed. And that is entirely what you're going to learn today in this class, to find out what these models are and how successful can they be when used properly. I would like to bring to your attention two objectives, that is what you must have at mind with the aim of achieving at the end of the lesson. I got two for you today, and the first one is state the models of measuring performance. State the models of measuring performance. You just need to mention. It's the same as listing or name or identify. It is the same way somebody asks you, state the colors of the Kenya national flag. What do you expect as your answer? White, red, black, green. White, red, black, green. You've just mentioned. There is no explanation. You have not gone beyond just stating. And that is what I want you to know at the end of this lesson. Just let me know of the models. Which ones do you know? Then the second one is describe the models of measuring performance. Describe the models of measuring performance. So let's go back to analogy of the Kenyan national flag. If you were to describe the colors now, you let me know of the colors, where they are placed on that cloth or the flag, and you go on to let me know of their significance. For example, you could say black, okay, represents the blackness of the continent, the black people. And red is blood that they lost in fight for independence. Green is the nature, the plants, the environment, the green nature of our country, Kenya. Okay? And white is peace. You are now describing. So at this point, I want you to describe the models for measuring performance. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I now take this opportunity to warmly welcome you to the study of the models of measuring performance. You already know what the unit entails, you already know what the topic of discussion today is, and you already know of the objectives that we have for the class. Now, before we start into detail, I would like to give you a short commercial break. You can go to the kitchen, pick a cup, take some tea. You can also have some water. You can take a glass of juice. You could also go beyond swallowing. How? In this commercial break, you can have your phone, text your friend, remind him or her that the class has started with Mr. Jared from ICS College and the unit is performance management. Remind them. It's also time to inform your fellows who are not aware of such learning as this that we're already in business and syllabi are continuing. Note that what we have done will not be repeated unless for the new intakes. So you've got to take learning very seriously. Remember, this is commercial break. We are on a commercial break, and even as you sip your tea, feel ready to do so, because as you do whatever you are doing, I'm here to entertain you and chat with you one thing or another as we prepare to commence on a serious note on what this topic is all about. So my point was that you can alert your friends and other students wherever you know. Don't fail to do so. If they are at home because of the lockdown, advise them that there is no need for worry because learning takes place from whatever corner they are. There is also good news that you can share with them, and this is coming straight from our college director, that every student, as from 1st June, will be entitled to free bundles. So no cause for alarm, no room for excuse. No one will say, I never got online because I lacked bundles. Every student will be entitled to 3 GB Safaricom bundles, 10 GB Airtel, and 12 GB Telecom. Imagine of that. And did you know? Suppose you bring a new student to join us via the online platform as an ICS student, a new student, and your details get confirmed. That is, yes, that amid the COVID-19 pandemic, there are many institutions that have got themselves into a real quagmire of not knowing what to do, and the students have been left into a very dire situation of not knowing what to do because the situation is not getting any better. Well, but with ICS College, you will appreciate that there is quite a lot that has been done to enable virtual learning to go on, so that the students, including you, remember, for you to bring a student, don't get affected. After all, who does not want to graduate? Is at home having done his or her everybody is really waiting in the past years, and to make sure that that's achieved, we hereby encourage you to make your learning a routine. Let it become your day-to-day life routine. The services there. So I welcome you back from the commercial break again, and we now proceed with the lesson content. And as I said before you went for the break, we are going to be talking about models of measuring performance. But before we talk of these models, I'd like to bring to your attention what performance measurement is. Well, it is a tool do you know to help managers control the outcomes of their organizations. Tablets. So when you talk about the outcomes of the organizations, then you must remember that the outcomes can either be positive or negative. So the management of what these outcomes will be necessitated by the presence of a performance measurement. Now, this tool will enable the managers to be the drivers and not the passengers in their own organizations. Well, and you understand what the driver is and what the passenger is. Do a simple calculation, find out. The driver is usually at the front, and it is upon him or her to control the rest on the journey. The passenger is to be controlled and therefore also get the benefit of enjoying the journey at the mercies of the driver. So if things go wrong, who is to blame? Is it the passenger or the driver? In Kenya, definitely it's the driver. And since the driver is aware, he'll always therefore make sure that he steers the journey to the success so that nobody gets hurt. Now in this commercial break, now, bringing that to management, it is now the manager to make sure that everything that entails the organization, the process is upon him to watch over. I hope you are now completing whatever business you're doing. The value of such performance measurement can be summarized in 3 points. One being, it can't be measured. It can't be measured if it can't be managed. If you do not, so if something cannot be managed, then it cannot be measured as well. And you've also shared 1 or 2. So what does that mean? Suppose students from a college have sat for exams and results are out. So at one point they have really performed well, but then in the subsequent exams, the performance. Greetings to you and welcome a lot to this first class we have for today. The measurement was done by gauging. I'm very happy that is what learning has been going on very smoothly between myself and you. Will be the management, or what will be managed? I want to congratulate you for your dedicated time that you keep is making. That for the good performance, the stakeholders who contributed to it could be brought onto a round table. You really need to congratulated your work at home. Urged to continue the good work. But you'll agree with me that as much as these performers will be brought on table to be congratulated, the manager will still be keen to identify weak areas even when the results were good. So to speak. Because nothing can be 100% correct. But there must even have been loopholes here and there that were identified. You've always so at the point of the discussion, the manager gets keen to identify those areas, on your and back. The aim of identifying these areas I would like to is to make sure that a betterment is made the dedication you're making today towards learning. The manager is interested at having sustainable results. Results that can be repeated right again and again and again. For you to realize. But in a scenario where performance is poor, is that management again comes in where the affected performers are brought to book, and have a clean and everybody is asked to bear the consequences of the poor performance. And at that point, you'll be able to tell. It could include penalties, such as suspension from job or duties. It could be absolute dismissal. I'm aware that this lesson takes place
the
at
manager
8,
can decide on a totally
and
different
that could
angle
be
to
early
approach the
for
matter.
most of you.
Perhaps can
Remember,
decide
being
to
at
have these
home,
performance
you are likely to be
taken
faced
for
with a
training
temptation of
and
waking up at
workshops and all
10
that, inductions,
to serve yourself some
with an
tea,
aim
have
of
a snack
making
thereafter,
themselves improve
watch
in the
your
next
favorite
tests.
television program,
So that
or even
brings
browse on
an
the
explanation
internet
to
or
that
meet
first summary,
friends
that if
via chat walls,
performance
WhatsApp,
cannot be measured,
FB,
it cannot be
Twitter,
managed.
Instagram, and all
And
that.
2, what gets
So
measured
making a decision to
gets
get on to
watched.
learning could
What gets
prove
measured
very
gets
hard,
watched.
especially
So
if
that is to say
dedication
that
is
the
lacking.
manager must be very keen
But you've
to supervise
surpassed all
the
that,
day-to-day running of the
and you've always made it
organization.
a priority,
And
because
you
for you
as
to make it for
students,
the
you
8
will at
o'clock
one point or another
class,
become managers.
I'm
So
sure that your
this
preparations for it
part
begin
is
way
already
before that,
helping
and
you to
you
become good
deserve to be
managers when you find
congratulated.
such opportunities in future.
It makes a lot of sense
So at
for
that
you to do
level, when you
that,
become managers, you must
and as I've said,
first
rest
measure
assured
and also
that
watch.
if you
This brings an
sow
idea
maize,
that you must be
you
on the
will reap
ground.
maize.
Don't believe
If
on
you sow
hearsay.
beans, you will
You must
reap
have facts on your
beans.
hand and
Nobody
always make
ever sows
solutions
maize
and
and
conclusions
reaps
based on
beans.
facts and
Neither
not
can you
rumors.
sow
And
beans
how do you
and reap
get facts?
maize. So the point I'm trying to
Watch,
make here is that
and
if you
after
put
watching,
hard
you
work
measure.
and much
So
efforts
for
and
example, if
concern
you are
into
managing
learning,
and you get reports that employees are
the
coming to work
rewards will
late,
come in
for
equal measure,
instance,
as opposed to if
how will
you
you measure the
plant
extent of lateness?
laziness
By
and lack of
basing your
concern
reasoning
with the very
on what you
minimal hard
hear
work,
and you've not
then
witnessed or
you
experienced
could be
yourself.
getting
So the best thing to
referrals,
do
not
as a
very good
manager at
grades.
that point is to
And
watch
since
the
the job
behavior.
market today does not
If you've not been reporting to work
take
early, then make it
lightly failure
a
in
routine,
examination,
one consecutive week.
it is upon you
Come
now
early and
to
lock yourself somewhere in an
select the
office.
best option,
Watch.
which, just
Let
as I've
these
said, will
employees not
always
take
land
note that you
you
are around.
into
Observe,
proper
because again,
positions.
if they do realize that you are there,
Now, with all
then
that
you are not
introduction
going
that
to
I've
get your
made, because we
desirable
are still in the
outcome.
process of getting to know each other, we've
Let
not met
them
before
work on a
perhaps,
plain ground with
and we are
normalcy,
just
not
meeting here
expecting
for the
you
online
and with
classes.
nothing like information that you are around.
We
Then
will
observe
meet,
the scenario,
but
observe the scene.
the
From
presentation
there,
I'll
you'll
be
be able to
making
measure
is
the
just
extent of
as
the lateness.
essential as meeting
And
physically, because
3,
there's nothing
what gets
untouched.
watched gets
The
done.
learning has
What
been
gets
organized in such a
watched
way that
gets done.
it will be like
So after watching,
a
it
physical
is now
interaction.
time you
So let
made
nobody cheat you
decisions.
that
Come
this
up with
is
the
half a
decisions
class.
based
It's
on
a
the facts
full
that you have
class
already at
with
hand,
very proper
and you're going to
management,
become a
with
very good manager because you're not
presentations,
working with the
and there's
rumors.
room for
You're not
asking
working with
questions,
innuendos.
just like
You
on
are
a
working with
physical platform.
plain facts,
You
what
are very
you've
much welcome
experienced
to ask
yourself
questions that you
as the
have,
manager.
and I'll feel
Now,
privileged to
going
answer them
forward
at an opportune
is
time.
to let you know that the concept of performance
The unit we are
measurement
handling,
is
the
not a
unit we
new
are
thing,
handling is called
but
performance
it
management.
started
As you know,
long
this is
way back,
not the
as
first
early
unit
as
that we are having together, and
1960s,
it's not the first lesson
when the
we have
Department
been
of
having.
Defense,
We've
as part of an effort
interacted before, I'm sure,
to reduce program cost overruns,
and
issued a set of
you are
critical
not
defining standards
a
for
stranger when
management
it comes to this
control
unit. You so
systems.
far know
So
much
that is
about it.
when
I'd given you
this
the
term
course outline and
first
the unit
came,
outline at the very first lesson.
and it got
And
hard
at that point, I
for
encouraged
the very
you
first
to
time
even
around
go
that period.
on with your own revisions and research.
So from there on, it has been picked because it is really helping.
The main idea here is
If
to
it is not
get
available, then
knowledge
things are not going to work.
and prosper
A performance
in
measurement
terms of
system that
knowledge
provides timely
and
information for
skills that
management
will enable you to
decisions
fit very well
is very
in the natural setting,
important.
in the natural
Very, very
environment.
important. And
So my name is
it will
Jared
help
Ochieng.
find
I'm a lecturer
the
at
exact
ICS
truth
College, and
on the
you are all
field.
students of ICS
Now
College.
we are about to go to the next thing.
We may have
The next concept of this lesson called the principles of performance measurement.
and I'm glad to have met you.
But before that, again, I want to give you a very short
like you,
commercial
eager
break
to
so that I
learn,
don't bore you with
who are
so
very
much
thirsty for
talk.
knowledge.
I understand that
Well, let me
concentration
give you a
span
brief
sometimes
history of my own self
gets diluted with
in
thoughts here
connection
and
to what
there,
we
with
are just about
interruptions
to learn
here
today.
and there.
Now,
and I take note
fact
of
is that I went to school
Remember,
just like you, only
at
that the
ICS
difference is
College,
that I
we really
perhaps went
care
earlier
for
than
your
you.
well-being.
I landed at Ochieng
Just like
University,
a good
where
parent,
I
a good
graduated
brother, a good
with
sister,
a
we
bachelor's
want the
degree
best for you, and we also want to take note
and
that you need to
an
stretch your feet a
education,
bit.
after which
And during this
I
commercial
started
break,
to
kindly you
pursue
can
my
take
career.
a quick look at your watch.
Well, I decided to give you that brief history
find
about
out
myself, especially
what
with
else you have
regards
for
to
the
my
day in
education
terms of
background,
learning,
so that you
you
get to
plan
know
again.
that
also take a sip of
people start
tea
from
from
somewhere.
your cup.
People start from somewhere.
Have a quick chat with your sister there.
You cannot become a lecturer
Probably someone in primary school or high
by
school.
waking up in the morning and
Let
finding
them
yourself in a
admire your
classroom.
progress with virtual learning. You can even
Coming to class
have a
for a
quick
lecture is
look
almost
at what you've
equivalent
learned in
to
terms of notes. Let
preparing
them
for a
just
journey.
orient
You must know where you want to go to, what you
them so
need,
that they
and
get
all
aware
that.
and also have the urge
So
to
when we
join
meet
you in
here
future.
for this sake,
So I
we
said that this time
prepared
around the
ourselves.
commercial
We
break is not
landed
going
into
to be as much
classrooms,
as the first
myself
one, because I
personally,
want us to cover something
and
before
got equipped with
time
skills that are
catches
very
up with
necessary for
us.
you. And these skills
Before
are going to
the minutes
sharpen
that I
you,
have for
so
you
that the main
elapse
thing
around
that
2
we
to
did
3,
in the past
I would like
is the
to
same thing
continue
that
with
we'd
the
like to
idea I was
encourage you
trying to bring to
do.
your attention, that
Because we know the paths that are right for you, what
learning
that you
is
follow will
going
make you
on
prosper
as we speak
and be dangerous in
virtually
life as
for
well.
all our students
So
via
as
this
much as
platform,
we'll be
and I want you
interacting
to
this
be the
unit,
ambassadors of
it is not
message,
about
because
discussing
unless
notes
we
and
reach out
adding
to all of
wealth
them,
of
we can
knowledge
never go
each and
together
every
as
day.
a team. And therefore,
But a lecturer
I really
also
encourage you
plays another very
to be
vital position,
selfless. Be selfless to
that
an extent
of
that if you
advising.
realize that there is honey, it is your
Well,
duty
age-wise, I'm barely 30. I'm
welcome
not
your
even 30
neighbor
anyway.
to come and
And
harvest the same
don't get
honey,
tempted to believe
because the benefits
that
are good
advice and
for all of you.
guidelines
For
should
all of
always
you,
come
the
from the
benefits are
old.
good for all of you.
We could be ranging in the same age bracket,
Excuse.
or I
And
could be slightly above yours.
as we wait to continue
But
the
be
lesson,
sure
I
that
continue to thank you for your
advice
time with me, and I
is
hope you
all
are really enjoying.
round.
If you have any question, please
I
feel
can
ready
advise
to ask.
you,
I'll be more
and
than
on the same
willing
breath,
to answer
you can
that.
advise me. But of
So welcome
interest
back.
is
We
advice on
may
the
now
path
continue together
that you
now
need
to
to follow
principles of
for you
performance
to lead
measurement.
the right path
And
and
I
find
want us to go
yourself
through
successful.
a few such principles, and then we are going to
When you
have a
talk of
bit of
this unit,
elaborations on them.
for example,
The first
performance
principle
management,
states that all
it's a
significant
unit that
work
is made up
activity
of only two
must
words.
be measured.
There is that word performance.
All significant
and
work
there is that
activities
word management.
must be measured.
So talking about performance management,
okay. And that is because
we are talking about
work that has not been measured or assessed cannot be managed, because there is no objective information to determine its value.
To manage your human resource. Because the course you're taking is
the work,
therefore,
management. Must first,
and when you're dealing with people, you're going to be measured performance,
so that it
you
can
need
be managed.
to give people
Unmeasured work
tasks,
should be minimized,
after
according
which
to this principle.
You
and work measurement must include the resources. The resources could include manpower,
how well
expenses, and investment. The second principle
even before I let you know
of performance management, performance measurement, says that desired performance outcomes must be established for all measured work.
We are dealing with what we know already.
Desired performance outcomes must be established for all measured work.
These are very
Why should that happen? Now you must note that outcomes provide the basis for establishing accountability for results, rather than just requiring a level of effort. And these outcomes are necessary for work evaluations, and meaningful
the unit
performance appraisal.
will help you
now, in the past
skills
lessons,
that
we
are
talked
necessary
about
in life,
performance
so that
appraisal,
when one confronts you with
and
a question,
we agreed that those were the
maybe
methods
you're
and
a junior
mechanisms of
student,
keeping
somebody
track of
who
work,
is behind you,
record that has
you'll
been
be
done
able to play
with
the
the
role
aim
of
of
an
making it
advisor
better and better,
and shed light
even
on
more.
whatever the questions they'll have for you.
So according to this second principle, which says
So
desired
you'll
performance
be sure
outcomes must be
that
established
through
for all
this you'll
measured
get
work.
a lot of knowledge.
Defining performance in terms of desired results is how
For the
managers
class
and
today,
supervisors make their work
we are going to
assignments
talk about the
operational.
topic called models for measuring
And
performance.
the third,
And this is our lesson 11.
principle
Models
says
for measuring
a
performance.
time-phased performance
So when the human
baseline
resources
must be
is
developed
tasked
to evaluate
to have
total
been,
organizational
given some work to do, and you are interested in finding
Now,
out
this
what much have they
baseline
done,
must incorporate
then
all
you
organizational
need something
activities.
called a model in order to measure
Such activities
how
include
best
operating
the
performance
tasks
outcomes that
have been
define the desired
performed.
results from operations
And that is
the
entirely
operational
what you're going to learn
resources.
today in this class, to find out what these
Operational
models are
resources can be
and how
manpower,
successful can
material,
they be when
assemblies,
used
and such.
properly.
So these are required to achieve the results.
I would like to
remember,
bring
the
to
results
attention
are outlined in the
two
objectives. That is where you have the plan of what you expect to have,
what you must have at
and
mind.
you will be achieving it
with
from
the aim
there.
of achieving at the
Then
end
financial
of the lesson.
performance outcomes that define the expected
got two
revenue
for
and
you
expense
today,
results
and
and
the first one
investment
is
required to support operating
state
activity.
the models of measuring
And
performance.
the other thing under this principle is schedule performance
State
that
the
defines
models
when
of
these
measuring
results and
performance. You just need
investments
to
are
mention.
expected to
It's the
occur.
same as listing or
Now, the
name
fourth principle and the
or
last one is performance
identify.
reporting and variance analysis
It
must
is the
be
same way somebody
accomplished
asks you,
frequently. Do
state
you understand
the
the meaning of the term
colors
frequently?
of the Kenya national
Is
flag.
as
What do you
often
expect us to
as
answer?
possible, without any delay,
White,
without any mismatch.
red,
It must be on a daily
black,
and normal routine.
green.
There must be
White,
frequent reporting because
red,
that will enable timely corrective
black,
action.
green.
So any anomalies that
You've
have
just
been
mentioned
witnessed
there
must
is no
be
explanation.
witnessed, must be
You
reported in
have
time
not gone
so that
beyond
immediate
just
corrective
stating.
action
And
is
that
taken.
is what I wanted to know at the end of
This
lesson.
timely
Just let me
corrective
know
action is
of
needed for
the
effective
models.
management
Which
control.
ones do you know?
So when it
Then
is
the second
placed
one is
in its best place,
describe
then
the
control
models of measuring
can be
performance.
made.
Describe the models of measuring
So
performance.
how can performance
So let's go
measurement
back to
baseline
analogy
be
of
developed?
the Kenyan national flag.
There are various suggestions
If you
there.
were to describe the
Work
colors
should
now,
be planned at the organizational
you let me
level,
know
accountable for the results of that work,
the colors,
and
where they are
that
placed on that cloth
means
flag.
that there must be a lot of planning
And you go on to let me
in
know
terms of
the significance.
subdividing marketing expense
For example,
requirements
you could
into
say
advertising, promotion,
black,
administrative, and such.
okay,
You can also subdivide production manpower requirements into direct manpower, indirect manpower, and overhead manpower.
The black people.
It can also be subdividing
red
sales expectations into
is
products
that they
and
lost
such and
in
such
fight
and
for
such.
independence.
Remember that the
Green
lower the level of work planning
is
and
the
reporting,
nature,
the more accurate
the
will be
plans,
the
the
variance
environment,
analysis.
the
So you
green
must have
nature
that
of our
analysis
country,
coming your
Kenya.
way.
Okay.
The other thing to take in
And
mind when you're
white
developing the
is
performance measurement
peace.
baseline is
You're now
operational planning
describing. So at this point, I want you to
begins
describe
by determining the operating
the
results to be achieved and estimating the physical
models
resources
for
needed to achieve
measuring
them. So you must have the
performance.
resources at hand that you'll be
So,
using to
ladies and
achieve them.
gentlemen,
3, the financial
may I
planning
now
must
take
involve
this
estimating the
opportunity
income
to
and expense
warmly
results from
welcome
the operating
you
plan
to the
and the
study of
investments
the
needed to
models
support the
of
plan.
measuring performance.
The other thing
You
you
already
need is
know
the
what the
performance
unit
measurement
entails.
baseline integrates
You already know
operational
what the
and
topic of
financial planning
discussion today
results
is,
and displays them on a
and you
common
already
baseline.
know of the objectives that we
At
have
that point, you
for the
need summary
class.
reporting,
Now, before we
which may
start
be more convenient
into
for upper
detail,
management
I would like to
needs.
give you a short commercial
Take
break.
note that operating plans and
You
budgets
can
must be consistent with the
go
performance
to
measurement
the kitchen,
baseline. Consistencies means here that you must not have loopholes and
take
gaps. There
some
must be a
tea.
form in which there is connectivity
You
between
can also
whatever you are
have
achieving.
some water.
Now we've looked at surrounding factors in this performance measurement, but remember,
could also go
just as I've said,
swallowing,
that in this lesson our interest was on models
this commercial break
of
you
measuring
have your phone,
performance. So
text your friends,
it would be inhumane if I bring you all that details without involving at least a model. So let us look at one or two performance measurement models, which
it's also time to
is the key thing today.
Inform your fellows who are not aware of such learning as this, that we
there are
business
many cited performance measurement models
continuing,
and
not
they include the following.
What we have done will not be repeated.
The balanced
for the new
scorecard.
So you've got to take learning very seriously.
Self-assessment excellence
commercial
models. Self-assessment excellence models.
Commercial break, and even as you sip your
and
tea,
3
feel ready to
models
do so, because
by
as
Cross
you do
and Lynch,
whatever you are doing, I'm here to entertain you and chat with you. One
how
thing
that model is referred to.
It
is called model by Cross and Lynch,
on a serious note,
1988.
on what this topic is all about.
So we have identified at least 3 models there. Remember,
in
the objectives I shared with you, the first one was just to state, and in the stating I've said we have one called balanced scorecard model
because of the lockdown,
and there is the self-assessment excellence model.
There is no need for worry,
and there is model by Cross and learning takes 1988
from whatever corner.
There are also organizational performance measurement
models. There's also good news that you can share with them.
They typically intend to provide a holistic view of an organization's performance by considering
that
different performance perspectives.
Every student, as from
and that is
June,
what these things do,
will be entitled to free bundles.
Other organizational performance measurement models provide similar perspectives.
No room for excuse.
And I want us to look
one will
at
say,
examples
I
of
got
such perspectives
online because I lacked bundles.
Perspectives.
Every student will be entitled to
looking at organizational
bundles,
components like
10
leadership,
GB,
people, strategy, partnerships and resources, processes, products, services.
And did you know?
People results, customer results, society results.
You bring a new student. Suppose you bring a new student.
Those ones are measured by those models
via the online.
So I encourage you to go through the notes that have been provided via your portal.
And your details get confirmed. That is,
the notes are very essential for your future reference, as well as for finding more information that have not been shared here.
Then
through
will be given
my presentation.
12
and I believe that with the concerted efforts, with your determination and concern,
so how
you are bound to go very far
and
become very good students. Well, we are looking forward to having very good interactions with you.
You need
here on this learning platform. And
remember, for you to bring a
student, I want you to become
either
good
is at
researchers.
home having done his or her.
Remember, in the introduction, I told you that I studied
2019, 2018, 2017, or whatever
I finished and found myself in the career development world.
This is a student
and I must be clear with you that learning will involve a lot of research.
Do you know
during our time, our lecturers would give us a lot of work that we were supposed to work on our own, and they usually encouraged us to work on groups and provide our findings and all that.
Gives
so now one of you could be asking, how can that issue of group work be practical on
which college
platform?
Do you know in Kenya?
Well, the truth is that I'm also going to follow that path. I want you to work in groups. I want you to work in groups because I know it is possible.
Now
today, technology has made things very easy. We have Zoom meeting technology that enables people to meet by use of their phones. And now that the college has made it possible for you to achieve bundles, Please, you can sign up into your Google accounts and also the Zoom meeting accounts. Form those groups and then meet.
Well,
other than that, I'm aware that you have various WhatsApp groups. You can always discuss questions there and then
do a simple
give your responses thereafter.
15,000.
When you research, scholars have found out that when you find something on your own, you expand your thinking capacity.
Why would ICS
and you run away
spend all that
from
and the answer is very simple.
The disease of being spoon-fed
the best college
every now and
in
then.
Kenya, and there is
that
no
level of
independence
is very important for you because it's going to make you grow holistically and all round generally, and that will make you become a better Kenyan
to do
in the future.
Now,
so, in this ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this.
3 minutes left before we resume our
I must be very sincere with you that I enjoyed highly my interaction with you.
I hope you are now completing.
But before I finish, I'd like to ask a question.
If you do not brush to
what
your
is a model?
The lesson got you unawares. I'm sure
what
you're in the middle of doing that. If
a model?
Tea, I'm sure you're taking the last sip.
Now, ponder over that question and let me know of your response.
Best friend, I'm sure.
But even as you think,
and you've also shared 1 or 2 comments that I've just shared with you in this commercial break.
How would you explain
so amidst the COVID-19
process of a calf pandemic, for instance? You'll rely on information.
Greetings to you and welcome to this
what a model is.
First class
try to think in that
we have for today.
If you want to give an explanation,
I'm very happy that
what will help you
learning has
get
been going on very smoothly between myself and you.
I'll be interested in getting your feedback.
And I want to congratulate you for your
I take again this opportunity to thank you very much for logging into this
I take note
platform.
of your daily efforts.
I hope to see you next soon. Thank you.
Never easy sometimes.
Bye-bye.
You really need to balance your work.
Yes, that amid the COVID